experts are buzzing about a major court decision yesterday. An LA judge ruled that California's landmark law mandating that corporations diversify their boards is unconstitutional.
Yeah, and tonight I spoke with Loyola law professor Jessica Levinson for some analysis of the law and also the latest ruling.
We are dealing here with a law that tried to create more diversity on corporate boards, and that is something that is lacking in California and many other states. And basically what this law said is that when it comes to smaller boards, that we need to have a certain number of members, that at least 2 members need to be members of a minority group and or the LGBTQ community. And then for bigger boards, those that are 9 or more, you need more members who are minorities or members of the LGBTQ community. This is a law, again, intended to try and create more diverse corporate boards that look more like California. This law was challenged by a conservative group, and recently an LA judge just said, you know what, I'm looking at this law, I'm looking at the California Constitution, and it violates the Equal Protection Clause in the California Constitution because it essentially acts as a racial quota requiring that a certain number of people be in these positions on boards. So the policy goal here was to have leadership, to have the members of a board of directors look more like corporations, look more like the rest of Californians. We know that there's a problem with respect to representation, not just in government, but in private businesses. And this law tried to solve part of that problem of representation. There's also plenty of social science studies that indicate when you have a diversity of leaders, meaning a diversity of people of gender, of racial background, of LGBTQ status, that you get better policy outcomes. So it's trying to solve a bunch of different problems. Now, that's the policy goal. The problem here, I think, is that there's a legal problem in the sense that it looks like a quota. And under the Equal Protection Clause, we need to be really careful about anything that looks like a quota. You can have the best policy goals in the world, but if it looks like, for instance, impermissible affirmative action, then we're going to have a legal problem. I think the best way to try and accomplish this diversity, which is much needed, is to incentivize corporations to do this, for them to want to do it on their own. The people in favor of these laws said, we've waited a really long time and diversity is still lacking. We have to pass a law. Given, though, that this law is facing significant legal challenge and problems, I think what we're going to have to do is rely on cultural shifts so that people in power say on their own, I want this corporation to look more like the rest of California, to look more like consumers, to look more like all of the workers, not just the workers in leadership positions. So yes, I hope there is a cultural shift because it is much needed. Again, I don't think that is going to happen as a result of this law, though.
All right, so far, no companies have been fined. However, the state argued that no tax dollars had actually been spent to enforce the measure.
In the meantime, another lawsuit is challenging a similar state law requiring a woman director on corporate boards.